two other string manipulation functions that are very similar to each other but have slightly different uses are the replace function and the substitute function. Let's use our employees file to see both of these in action. Now at the moment, our employees all have an email address. We can see that here, wendy.parker@mariodasilva@. Because the company is being taken over and joined with a larger company, what we're going to do is amend people's email addresses so that they remain pretty similar in that this person will be wendy.parker, but between their last letter and the @ symbol, we're going to insert their ID number. That way we increase the uniqueness of their email address. So how do we go about inserting their ID? So let's insert a column here and move things along a little. And we'll call this new email. Now we will firstly use the replace function to do what we wish to do here. And the replace function is replace, logically, open brackets, the old text. Now the old text is the cell that we are interested in manipulating. That is the string that we wish to manipulate. But we are not changing the whole string. We just want to replace part of the string. So we add a comma. And where do we want to start our replacement from? We want to start our replacement from the @ symbol. So I need to find the @ symbol. So we need our find function again. And we're finding the @ text string, so it needs to be in double speech marks, within our email address. Close brackets. And we're then taken back to the replace function, comma. How many characters do we wish to replace with our new value? Well, we actually don't want to replace any of the values. We want to effectively insert, so I'm going to put a 0. So none of the original text string values are actually replaced, but we're going to start inserting at the point where the @ symbol occurs, comma, new text. Well, what are we going to insert at that point? Well, that's going to be the ID, and the ID is located over here in A2. So that then finishes our function, which is the replace function. Return, and we get wendy.parker1 @ and their post office. Let's replicate that formula. And you can then see that each person's email address remains pretty much the same. Well, it is the same, but with their ID inserted between their post office box and their post office. So that's using the replace function. Now we could use the substitute function to do exactly the same thing. Well, we can use it to obtain the same end result. So let's insert a new column. We'll retain that one, new email, and we'll call this new email 2. And we're going to make use of the substitute function. So that's equals substitute. And you'll see that the parameters for this are slightly different. The first thing is the text we are manipulating, which is the email address, comma. What old text are we looking for in our email address that we wish to substitute with another value? Well, I'm going to substitute the @ symbol. So again, it's text string, so it needs speech marks around it. And I'm going to substitute the @ symbol with person's ID, which for Wendy is A2, ampersand, the @ symbol, and again it's in speech marks. We're taking away the @ symbol, but then replacing it with the ID and the @ symbol. Now there is an optional parameter for this function, and that is instance_num, and this means which instance of the old text, in this case the @ symbol, are we looking to replace? Well, the @ symbol only appears once, so we don't need to give an instance number. And in fact, even if the character you're trying to replace does appear more than once, if you leave the instance number vacant, then it will replace every occurrence of the old text. So in our case, we're going to close the substitute function and return, and we see we get exactly the same result, but by a different method. And if I replicate, all of the email addresses then follow the same format. So we've inserted the ID number between person's first name and surname and their post office box by firstly using the replace function and then by using the substitute function. Now hopefully you can see some scope for both of those two functions when looking to replace parts of text strings within an Excel cell.